morning. I'm Nancy Voris. I work at Johnson Memorial, but what I do is the tobacco grant for Johnson County. So we do prevention in the schools. We do cessation. We work with the doctors and help them. Somebody said maybe you had a different topic in mind when you came here. So what I hope you learn today or take away is information that will help your families, help you in your work maybe with people you work with. But who can say some of the ways that you still see tobacco in the news now? What's going on? What is the epidemic they talk about? Have you heard? The epidemic is the jewels in the schools. And I talked to the corporation nurse at Center Grove last week, and the kids that are jeweling now, and you're going to learn more about that, that they've just had expulsions like crazy already at the beginning of school. So how many, got any oldies that grew up in the 60s like me? Some of these old commercials. You remember this stuff? Good old Ronald Reagan even. I mean, they used every movie star, they even had a doctors come on and say, this is what the doctors spoke, you know. But in '64, the Beatles came over, but we also, that year, had our very first Surgeon General's report. And from then on, we haven't had any excuse. We've all known about the lung cancer and all the things that it caused. So what they tried to do is rein the tobacco companies in and kind of cut out the TV commercials. Then they had them get rid of Joe Camel, anything that might appeal to kids. So now their biggest marketing point is at the convenience stores. And who has noticed the increase in the ads on the pumps? Do you know why? Have you thought about why? Because we're paying at the pump. We don't go in the store anymore. So it's the livelihood of the convenience stores and the tobacco companies, so that they plaster ads up on the windows and all like crazy. These are kind of hard to see, but they are targeting kids because they keep up. This is e-liquids. Like I say, kind of hard to see. The e-juices, they're all colorful and flavorful, and right next to the candy. But there's different. There's three things, and we'll see them in a minute. But one is people who are trying to quit. You go to get gas and you're bombarded. It's right in front of you. And then the other thing is how they market to kids. So this is the big thing. This is what they call their power wall. And remember when it just used to be little cases and you could see the end of the Marlboro pack and you knew that was the one you wanted? Now it's just all flashy, all color, all kinds of gimmicks and sales and things like that. Okay, so the three things, the point of what we call the point of sale, encourages kids to start, makes quitting more difficult, and it disproportionately targets some communities. Have you ever noticed Johnson County is pretty good. You go downtown to the inner cities and twice as much signage and all, because people with low income tend to smoke more. There's a higher prevalence of it. There's different theories of why that might be. Maybe they don't have money to go to the movie or take a vacation, but that's a small amount of pleasure they get if they smoke or something. So over here is just an example of the exterior on some convenience stores. But Casey's, our very own Casey's, Macy's right here in Franklin. They have a store policy, no advertising on the windows. And it just looks so nice and clean. The one in Edinburgh, same way. So we kind of gave them a thumbs up that they weren't pushing it in front of people's faces. And so here's how they do it to youth. Okay, the picture up here, it's kind of like I say, kind of hard to see. The candy's on the left, and all of the cigarillos are on the right. Cigarillos are really big with kids. I do a class at the Job Corps, and that is one of the first things that kids might get started on. Partly because, you can see here, number one, all the flavors. You know, kids don't really want that raw tobacco taste like, you know, like my dad, brothers and all did. They're wanting something sweeter to take that kind of mass fat taste. But what they do, they mark it up 2 for 99 cents. So how many kids usually have about $1 in their pocket that they'll give to an older friend to go buy them? So we feel like that is one way they're really targeting kids. And then over here, the one on the right kind of has, this is all candy bars down here. But when kids are looking, you know, they see this, but they kind of see that whole tobacco picture as, oh, part of the fun in life, part of the enjoyment in life. And I think, I thought I had one other one. A lot of what they do is like the one on the left. It's down low. Who's looking at that? You got kids, eye level, right there. So anything under the counter, we really get upset when they do that. If it's down there with the candy and gum, they're wanting kids to look at it and notice it. And then this is the big thing now. And we have to look at this. The kids these days are the replacement smokers. And they're the ones that have either quit or they've died because of tobacco issues. So 1,300 a day in the United States die of tobacco-related causes. The lung cancer, the cardiovascular diseases, and COPD. So they're looking, who they got. Most people in their 20s, 30s have already decided that's not what they want to do. So they have to look at the young, impressionable kids and try to get them hooked. So how many of you are familiar with the Juuls? Or you have kids, you've seen kids doing it? No? Totally new thing, huh? Well, start watching, because look at, she's holding it in her hand, and it actually has a piece that fits on the end, and they plug it into their laptops to charge them. And they just look like a thumb drive, USB drive. But like I say, the teachers, they're all catching on. And up here at the top, the little cartridges go on the end. They have that one is a mango, the yellow's mango. Then the green is a mint, and I think the red's something fruity. But there again, the flavors. Now the difference with the Juul, okay, here this talks a little bit about the epidemic. Talk about it taking over in the bathrooms. We hear of the older kids with a Juul sharing it with the little kids that don't have any idea. Here, try this. You'll like this. So it just catching on about like bell bottoms did back in the day. Everybody wore them, and it's a fad. But the sad thing is, it does contain as much nicotine. One of those little flavor pods on the end is the same as a pack of cigarettes. That doesn't change. Now, in some of these other vaping devices, you can get 0 nicotine in it, just a flavor. But in the Juuls, it is always 5%. The same as a pack of cigarettes. So kids are actually getting addicted to nicotine off of these things. this little chart on the right shows that the market share that Juul has of e-cigarettes. So I think, okay, so how do kids get them? You know, it's a tobacco product. They're not supposed to be able to get them. Most of them do it at the convenience stores. They'll have, like I said, an older friend who is 18. But we're also finding out from an FDA crackdown in the last few months that a lot of the retailers aren't even bothering to check. So kids are just getting them. The internet, if you go on the internet and look up these vaping devices, it will ask, are you 18 or over? Yes. Give your birthday. Give your mom's birthday. You're right in there and you can order. It's just that easy for kids. Now, some sites I've seen are actually asking for your ID. It takes a picture or something, but most of them don't do that.
I have a question. Are there a lot of stores that sell, can you buy the device like without the liquid and they can sell it to a minor, or is that supposed to be illegal as well?
I don't know. But most of them usually have the pods with them. You know, the starter kits will always have the pods. Good question, right? All right, and social media is phenomenal at marketing. Okay, just ask me, how many of you have Facebook? Anybody? It's not usually a guy thing, I know. Well, let me tell you how it works, because I use it in my work. I have a Facebook page for tobacco-free Johnson County, and there are times I want to get these messages out to the kids. I want them to see problems. And so I can target like 13 to 21-year-olds in Johnson County. I can plug in the zip codes that I want. And on their Facebook feed, it will pop up. And you know, it's crazy. I can't even remember what it was, but something popped up in my Facebook feed. And it was something I was just thinking about checking the price on. And I'm still trying to figure out how that thing knew I was in the market for that. So I was looking at flooring at Lowe's last week. That was one, but you know, that's the way the internet works now. It's pretty scary, really. So these up here at the top, where it's got the jewels, but it's got colored wrappings, so they call them skins. So you may not see just a black device. You may see something all decorated. This Instagram, retailer Instagram posts, gosh, now I can't even read it. Yeah, the Sharpie. I don't know if you can see it. But this is a Sharpie, and it has a jewel inside it. Kids are crazy about getting by with things. The more risk, the better, you know. So they're doing it. They hide them in their sleeve. They can hold that thing in their sleeve. In class, just go like that, like they're yawning. Take a hit off of it. The other one, this one, I can't read it either. This one, but then on social media, Instagram posts like that one, the girl over here on the left is holding her jewel. This is me after not smoking my jewel for a full 5 minutes. That's how kids are. That's how they are totally addicted to these things. It's pretty scary. And the thing is, our teen smoking rate had been going down for years. Going down, down, down. And because they are now doing jewels, addicted to nicotine, they're now crossing over, and well, if they don't have their jewel with them, yeah, I'll try that chewing tobacco because I know it's got nicotine, or I'll have one of your cigarettes. I need that nicotine hit. So it's going back up. It's really sad. Here we thought all these years we were helping people get off of nicotine and cigarettes, and it looks like it's going to go back up. So here are some of the other devices. I call these the first generation, the very first ones that we saw, the e-cigarettes. And then they kind of evolved into these tanks. And the sad thing about it too, not just for the nicotine addiction, but 37 drugs are capable of being vaped. The liquid THC and just different forms of them. I think they call it wax, but they can be put into these devices, and you may not know what your teenager's doing. Okay, that's scary. So here's some other. This warrant up here. I have on my desk. I have a little whiteout thing that you zip across your paper to whiten things out. Very similar shape and all. So you can see how they can take them to school, and it all just kind of blends in with all the other stuff they have. All right, and even up here, my husband still smokes. My biggest candidate for cessation, I can't get him to quit. So he has COPD, and these little puffers up here are just almost exactly what he uses for the COPD. But they got vape juice in them. Crazy. All right, so this is kind of busy here, but the thing about vaping is it's not safe. They're finding more evidence of that every day. You still get some chemicals. Formaldehyde is one, and there are metal particles that come out into that vapor. And the thing about teens is that teen brains are not fully developed until they're like 25. So it's harmful to the brain development. I mean, here at a time when they're not thinking straight and maybe making the best choices, that nicotine's getting them addicted and could be causing harm to their brain. All right, so the other little spiel I give when I'm here is just if you or anyone in your family is doing some kind of tobacco, we promote the Quit Line, which the Quit Line is phone counseling, is basically what you've probably heard about. You get a quit coach, and they will help you with things like triggers and cravings and getting your mind kind of turned around. And then in addition to that, the other part of any addiction is the physical, because some people, have withdrawal symptoms when they get off of nicotine. So they do send you free nicotine patches or gum to kind of help you that way. Let's see. Whoop. And then they can also do it through text to quit. So it's just the 1-800-QUIT-NOW, and they'll set you up, and you can do it, do things either over the phone counseling, or actually do it through texting. So I think I talked too fast here. I was worried about having too much. Anybody have any questions? And I wanted to keep that conversational, and I just wouldn't shut up, did I? So anybody have any questions? Any things that you've seen in the news, or any questions about tobacco in general? Believe me, it's a big machine. The tobacco industry is a huge machine in Washington. That's why we have trouble getting anything done. But the FDA, like I said, really is cracking down on these jewels, because they see, number one, it's an epidemic, and it's getting the teens back into tobacco. So. questions at all? Yep.
I was wondering, the popcorn lung.
Popcorn lung, right, it's diacetyl. Okay, so popcorn lung was discovered out in Iowa at a popcorn plant. And they found out they were having a lot of respiratory issues. They found out that diacetyl, which is the one of the flavorings in the buttered popcorn, because of the workers breathing that, inhaling that so much, was causing a respiratory disease that they've named popcorn lung. We know that is in the vapor. That's in the e-liquids, because what may be safe to eat, like on popcorn, it's proven safe to eat on it. Once it's heated, totally changes the chemical makeup. So what may be an okay food additive, if you're putting it in a vape and you're heating it up and inhaling that, it totally changes that. So this is where they didn't let the FDA get ahead of research. They say it takes years of research before they come to a conclusion. But the industry, the e-cigarette industry, just took off. Say, no, it's safer, it's safer. Well, no, we don't know that yet. So anyway, popcorn lung is just one of them. But you think of all those flavorings, there are over 5,000 different flavors of e-liquids. Anything you can imagine. And all of those are chemicals. And like I say, we don't know what they do once they're heated up. So.
And how is it that there's not regulations on the liquids? Like, how is that, even after, because when they found popcorn, that was years ago, right?
Well, yeah.
But, and then they're still allowing that.
They're still
to be put into that.
Well, because the FDA is so slow, and like I say, they're meticulous with their research. Now, we're getting studies coming out of Stanford or different universities that are studying aspects of it that'll give a report. But the FDA, see, is adding that. They want to be fair, which, they don't want to slam the industry for no reason. So they want to take their time and make sure that they've got all the research to back it up. Yeah. Now, we really can't wait on the FDA. And I think this with the kids, I think they're finding they have to go ahead and do something about that now. So they are cracking down. They have made Juuls and some of those other companies that are targeting teens. Yeah, I don't have that. Juuls advertising, there's teens all over it, everything that appeals to teens. So the FDA has told them, given them until the end of November to either come up with a plan to cut the teen marketing or, they're going to be sanctioned. So anyway, it's tough to keep ahead of it. Anybody else have questions that you thought of? No? Okay. All right. Well, thank you. I'm not going to keep going. I don't know what time it is. I'm not sure how.
Don't go yet.